Yeah, another DMS Chats, this time with Ralf. How are you, brother?
I'm very well, my brother. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for joining us on the DMS Chats.
It's a pleasure.
It's actually been a long one, and I always wanted to keep you for the end. And well, we're kind of getting it and doing it, and I'm happy that we're actually kind of doing the real thing, even though it's a smaller version. But there's never a smaller version. The industry is big enough, so there's always a lot to learn, and it's not as if we're going to learn a lot less. So
yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that weekend 3, 4, 5, going out and communicating with people again. We've been locked away, so it's time we join again and we see each other again, which is important, I think.
Yep. I think talking about the lockdown, I think let's talk about that. I mean, the club scene kind of opened, I think now it's been 8 to 9 weeks, and I guess there's been the good sides of it, there's been the bad side. There's places that comply, there's places that don't comply. What is your kind of viewpoint on that?
I'm very close, obviously linked to Europe, and I see the second wave happening there, and it scares me a bit to see some places I've been booked to be honest. I didn't really feel comfy. So I now only take gigs where I can feel safe, because you can't change the mindset of everyone. If someone wants to pack an indoor club to capacity, you will not probably change his mind by saying it's not within the regulations. And I understand we all need to make money again, so we want to have customers, or they want to have customers. Personally, I feel we need to be careful. We are now in summer, and if we manage to get the cases down to a real low number, we might not get a second wave at all. Therefore, I feel we need to educate the people a bit too about the risks which
are there. Yeah,
which
sure.
Are there. Yeah.
Well, I think, and another thing is for our industry as well. I guess, look, a lot of people are going to look at that and say, close us down. I mean, I saw a lot of negative reports in Europe, which I kind of didn't buy, no offense to that, because people were saying, because clubs are not doing this and that, people are, the virus is spreading. I would disagree on that, because statistically, if you don't have facts, then don't say that.
Yeah.
If, we've been, like I say, it's the 9th week, and yes, a lot of people have been congregating at the venues. And like I say, thank God that, let me say 70% of the venues that I go to, they have been following regulations.
Yes.
I find, actually, funny enough, that a lot of the venues far out of Gauteng, they don't follow regulations, and a lot of people say that, well, we were never in lockdown in our own way. I don't know how that was possible, but maybe it's a bit different, in the smaller towns. Maybe the lockdown was a little bit less restrictive, and those people feel that, we didn't have much of a lockdown, so we don't follow that much of regulation, especially on timing. I must say, yes, some venues, they just try and pack them out, but I guess it is what it is. But at the same time, also try and speak to the owners and say, let's try and follow regulations for the sake of our industry. We've been able to be allowed to work and make some money. Let's stay that way, and let's keep everybody safe.
We should.
I think that's what it's all about, and I think let's try and push that message as DJs and as artists. Let's try and push that message across. And yes, we might not get through to everybody, but let's hope that we get to most people.
Yes, we just shouldn't risk that we are locked down again. Our industry is one of the most affected when a lockdown happens, because there's no possibility of alternative income, and not only DJs, as well music producers who DJ like me, we just depend on the income out of performance. And if that's taken away, we have no possibility of making money. So I think just sticking to, logic things like a bit of social distancing, some masks go a long way. And if we keep that for a few months, we should be back to normal, hopefully.
Yep. Another question, since we were talking about that. The performance is so important. I think one thing that COVID showed us is performance. There is not a lot of money to be made through sales. I think maybe if you can touch base on that, you run a record label, you bring out tracks all the time, you spend a lot of money. And I mean, how do you make that happen? Because let's be honest, the sales are not there for the revenue to happen. People are copying music. Music's being played, but it's not being bought, if I stand corrected.
I mean, there can be a bit of money if you have a really successful song, which, let's say, on our specialized store Traxos does really well. There is a bit of money, and the exchange rate with the weak rand actually helped a bit in this situation to make some dollars, which then became more rand. But in general, music unfortunately became like a promotion tool. You know, you mainly do it to then make money out of other income streams. Therefore, yeah, it's not a lot of money. The label is more run out of passion than actually a viable business. So, yeah, music happens through passion, and the money needs to come through performance, or the music makes your name popular, and therefore you find something where you can make money out of.
Mm, mm. So I guess you heard it from Ralf himself. So it's a promotional tool. At the same time, look, I think we all knew it was heading there. I mean, if you look at it from a digital point of view, digitally everything's available. People crack everything in a certain sense. So that's where we're at. And I think also importantly, I think for those that are starting off in DJing, I'm just going to throw my 50 cents worth here. Very important that you buy music. A lot of people tell me, how do I make it? And I know from Ralf, it's Ralf, and Ralf can attest to this. We buy music consistently. Yes, we do get promos, all the time. And that's how we kind of make it, because we kind of create new trends. We listen to new trends. We get involved in new trends, and we break new trends. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, what would DJing be if we don't do that? I mean, if we're just going to play what everybody knows, then I guess there isn't a point.
Then we become radio, who playlists songs, and we do playlists. That's not what DJing is about. I think DJing is about introducing new music and educating the crowd, at least to a certain extent, with every set. And therefore you have to have new music, ideally in our scene newer than anyone else.
Yes, of course.
And therefore I say we because I know Vinny does the same, you do the same, spend a lot of time to find the music and obviously then buy the music.
Yeah, so if you're young, up and coming, and you want to get into the music industry, DJing wise, I think first thing, the most important thing is the music. Not the mixing. Those things you can fix and fine tune. But if you don't have the music, and that's the tool, let's go into the production side. It's expensive. You're one of the people who are connoisseur in production. What I mean by connoisseur is you spend a lot of money. I mean, a lot of live instrumentation, not necessarily on every song, but most of the tracks. I mean, vocalists, all of that adds up. The tally adds up, but it makes the production sound amazing. And we have realized over the past few years, I guess due to finances as well, and a lot of revenue not being made through sales, that some people kind of skip that. The music is lost its feeling. It's not the same as before in a certain sense. Not everybody does it. And just let's touch base on your production and also where you're heading to. You're busy with a new album. I mean, there's a lot of amazing stuff that you're coming up with. So tell us more about that.
First of all, because we spoke about DJing, I think there's no DJing without music production. And therefore, it's important that we keep on doing music, because we can't break trends as DJs or play new music if no new music is produced. And this thinking actually made me work even more on production during lockdown. I now had the time to work more on it, and I thought it's my only way of contributing, keeping the scene alive, because a music production might save a job at a digital distribution or a download store. So music has to steadily come out. And personally, I don't know, I just want to do, it's me, and I can't stop. I get moody if I can't produce for too long. The reason for putting still those efforts with live instruments and good vocalists and so forth is simply, I think we have a lot of music out there, and it doesn't really make sense to add something average to a flooded market. So I try to do my best and do it as well to inspire others, to elevate and to keep on thinking, and that it doesn't get forgotten that we have live musicians there. So I add them as well to inspire others to, try to enhance our sound. We as well shouldn't do the same for 30 years. A lot of people say house used to be different back then, and maybe they prefer the old vibe. For me, I feel we steadily have to evolve, otherwise it gets boring. And it's the same with new talents. We steadily need new talents in our scene, which makes such initiatives very important, to inspire them and give them information how to make it in the industry. Because if we don't do all of that, our scene will dry out at some point.
So I think it's also important to give, and I think that's what's important, and that's what the Dance Music Summit is about, is really giving back to the industry and growing the next generation. I think maybe my last question would be, and I kind of lost my thought, but the next generation, what do you feel about the South African scene at the moment? I mean, I'll tell you a bit of my perspective. I think through lockdown, I saw a lot of people coming through, or people that weren't active, that have come back up. There's a lot of new people, especially on the deep house scene, maybe on the soulful scene, still a bit slow, but there's a lot more South African vocal stuff coming out. And there's some good production. I mean, what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm in this country now roughly a decade, and the growth of the quality of music during this decade is amazing, You were the one bringing me first in 28, and you gave me a huge folder of music, and if I compare the standard, it exploded, we got there. And not only with lately the new upcoming of more deep house, which is great, and as well soulful house, but as well new trends, we shouldn't forget Amapiano. Sometimes I'm not sure about the quality there, but it's great. We have new trends, we create new trends, and the trends started traveling the world. So people are looking on SA as a dance music, house music country, and it's good that, a lot of people are active, and even more active during lockdown, to present the music and to produce the music. And I think we are up there. The problem we have is what we mentioned in the beginning: music alone doesn't pay the bills of all of us. So we need to as well make sure that those people who are doing good stuff are performing, and eventually as well performing internationally again.
Yeah, I think that's one thing of DMS. That's one thing that I've heard from so many people, and we kind of know it, but we need to punch it into people. And that's why it's called the power of performance, the DMS of this year. And the power of performance means that if your performance is not powerful and you're not good, or you're not there, the money won't come in, and that's kind of our survival side. And hopefully through the summit, we are actually able to get you to the next level and show you how important the performance is. And sometimes, we're not all good dancers, or we're not good in this way, but there's ways and means. We have talents, and that's the reason why we are popular in our own rights. Maybe we just have to find the right way and the right doors to open. Ralf, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for your time. We'll see you at the conference. For those that are watching, please do get your tickets. They're limited to 150, and otherwise, we'll see you on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of December, Dance Music Summit.